Welcome back to Python coding. Yeah, I couldn't think of a better intro. Yeah, I'm trying to work on my intro. Alright, so let's go full screen. But before that, I want to turn off anything else which is not needed right now so we can fully focus on what is needed to be done. Alright, now that this beautiful desktop is ready, open up Google Chrome and go to the history and search up Python. There it is, Python. And I'm gonna start up Visual Studio Code. You know, Visual Studio Code. Improved error messages, yeah. Yeah, I already tested that out. That was really cool. A very nice update. Python documentation. Come on, open it up. 3.15 in development. Let's see what is new today. Alright, other language changes. Because we've done this, improved error messages, now we're going to move on to other language changes. Python now uses UTF-8 as the default encoding. Alright, that is something new for me. UTF-8. Independent of the system's environment. Oh, alright, let's go. This means that I/O operations, yeah. Input output, most probably, still want to confirm? Let's do that. What is I/O in this? In Python, I operation input output. So I slash O is input output. Yeah. I mean the IO in the sentence I've given you. Now just tell me the full form specifically for IO in the sentence. I was able for input output. Alright, it's input output. It's confirming. Alright, this means that input output operations, input output, without an explicit encoding, for example, now I gotta understand this, 100%. Reset to 100%. Python uses UTF-8 as a default encoding, independent of the system's environment. Alright, I get that. This means that input output operations without an explicit encoding. What does explicit mean? The word explicit means clearly stated or defined, leaving no room for confusion or interpretation. Alright, explicit encoding. Clearly stated, defined. So this means that input output operations without a clearly defined encoding, for example, open flying circuits IT will use UTF-8. Alright, I get it. Any operations that are related to input output and they do not have a clearly defined encoding, then they are going to use UTF-8. Alright? That is what I understand from this. What does ChatGPT have to say for this? This means that input operations where you have not clearly specified the encoding yourself, for example, Open file.txt. No explicit encoding. Alright. Oh yeah, there is nothing clearly defined. Explicit means... Look here. Explicit means clearly stated or clearly defined. Right? So we haven't clearly defined here open file.txt. Alright, I get it. It's not clearly defined what kind of encoding. But over here, explicit encoding. Explicit, clearly defined encoding, separate. Encoding is UTF. Alright, I get it. Explicit is equal to clearly stated, which is clearly stated over here. Implicit is equal to not stated, just assumed or defaulted. I get it, totally. UTF-8 is a widely supported Unicode character encoding. That is a very long word. UTF-8 is a widely supported Unicode character encoding. That has become a de facto standard representing text, including nearly every web page on the internet. Wow, many common file formats, programming languages, and more. It is used for representing text, web pages on the internet, common file formats. Alright. I need to understand. What is, hold on, that is a famous word. De facto. De facto, what is that? It comes from Latin and literally means in fact or in practice. When we say something is a de facto standard, it means it is not officially mandated by law or formal rules, but it is widely used and accepted in practice. So everyone treats it as the standard. Alright, it's widely used and accepted in practice. In fact, it is in practice. Alright, so it's in practice and it's in fact. Become a de facto standard, so it's in practice. UTF-8 is in practice, and UTF-8 is a widely supported Unicode character encoding. What is a Unicode character encoding, as stated in the sentence I've given you? Unicode character encoding refers to a system that assigns, alright, it's a system that assigns a unique number called a code point. That's okay, there's a unique number, it's also called a code point, to every character. Wow. A system that is assigning a unique number to every character. So that character could be anything, A, B, C, D, or anything. So they all have a unique number. Alright, and this Unicode character encoding is a system that does that. It assigns stuff from almost every writing system in the world to every character from almost every writing system in the world, and then represents those numbers in bytes. Hold on. Every writing system in the world, okay, there are characters, yes, I get that, and then this Unicode character encoding system assigns a unique number to them, to those characters, and then represents those numbers in bytes. Oh, okay. It's going to assign a unique number to the character, and then it's going to represent that number. Yeah, it's going to assign a unique number to every character. It's going to assign a unique number to every character, and then it's going to represent that number, those numbers, in bytes. So computers can store and transmit them. Alright, I get it. In simpler terms, computers store everything as numbers, zeros, and ones. That's true. Unicode says every character, letters, symbols, emojis, etc. get its own unique number. Alright, they all have a unique number. Could be anything. Character encoding is a method of turning those numbers into bytes that the computer can read and write. Okay, computer can read those bytes. So converting those numbers, right? The numbers that are assigned to the characters, converting those numbers into bytes that the computer can read and write. Alright, computer can read those numbers, those bytes. It can also write those bytes. Alright, like UTF-8, UTF-16, or UTF-32. So, in your sentence, UTF-8 is a widely supported Unicode character encoding. It means UTF-8 is a way of encoding Unicode characters into bytes. Encoding Unicode characters into bytes. Yeah, I get that. So computers can store and share text reliably. If you want, I can give you a small example showing how a character is represented in Unicode and how a character is represented in Unicode and encoded in UTF-8. It makes it clear, really clear. Do you want me to? Well, I guess so. Yeah, yeah. Let's do that. ChatGPT, help us out. Unicode. Step 1. Unicode assigns a unique number to every character, for example. This is character A, Unicode, and the Unicode code point is going to be U plus 0041. Alright. Character is the euro symbol. It has a Unicode code point. Oh, it's getting assigned the number. Okay, it's assigning the number. U plus 20 AC. Alright. Character is the smiley face. It's going to have the Unicode code point U plus 1F60A. The U plus, yeah, there's a U plus in every one of them. Just means Unicode code point. Alright, Unicode code point. I get it. Unicode assigns a unique number to every character. These are all the characters. There's 3 characters, and they have all been assigned a unique number. And each number contains U plus, and U plus just means Unicode code point. So now we know what Unicode does. Everybody knows what Unicode does. Unicode assigns a unique number. Alright, that's it. Encoding in UTF-8. Now, what's UTF-8 gotta do? UTF-8 converts these code points. These are the code points, U plus 1F60A. It converts these code points into bytes. This is the code point. It's going to convert them into byte. I get it now. So it's going to be, this is going to be 41, E2, 82, AC. Alright. These are the UTF-8 bytes. It's going to convert them into bytes. These are bytes. And I'm guessing this is hexadecimal or something. If I'm right or if I'm wrong, I don't know. A is simple, 1 byte. Okay. But this euro symbol needs 3 bytes and the smiley face needs 4 bytes. Alright. Yeah, okay, I get it now. This whole thing is 1 byte. A needs just 1 byte. And the euro symbol needs 3 bytes. And the smiley face needs 4 bytes. You see? 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. This is so cool. UTF-8 is variable length. 1 to 4 bytes per character. Alright. Which makes it very efficient and capable of representing all Unicode characters. So in practice, yeah, this is UTF-8 by the character.encode UTF-8. It's gonna show us it's gonna show us the byte form, I'm guessing. Encoded in UTF-8 bytes. UTF-8 bytes. Alright, I get it. Yeah, I get this. Why UTF-8 became the de facto standard instead of UTF-16 or UTF-32 is pretty interesting. Do you want me to? Well, no, not right now. We're gonna continue with this. This only applies when no encoding argument is given. Yeah, we got that before. And I'm gonna scroll to the top. At the very start, we can see over here. Hold on. It was somewhere over here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here it is. No explicit encoding. We can see there is nothing clearly stated here. So in that case, this only applies when no encoding argument is given. You can see that. So the default is UTF-8 encoding. This means that if input-output operations without an explicit encoding. If there is something going on, input-output, right, and it does not have anything clearly stated, like what kind of encoding is that? In that case, UTF-8 is going to be used by default. Over here, you can see that it does not have any kind of encoding. But over here, you can see that this has encoding, UTF is equal to 8. So in this case, we know what's going to be used. But in this case, the first one, we don't know what's going to be used. So in the first case, UTF-8 is going to be used by default. It's the default encoding. Alright? Hopefully you understand that. It is the default encoding that is going to be used in case no explicit encoding is mentioned, like in this. There's no explicit encoding, so this will use UTF-8. This only applies when no encoding argument is given. Encoding argument. This is the encoding argument. For best compatibility between versions of Python, ensure that an explicit encoding argument is always provided. Alright. The opt-in encoding warning can be used to identify code that may be affected by this change. The special encoding is equal to locale. Argument uses the current local encoding and has been supported since Python 3.10. Hold on. Let me try to think over here. So yeah, we get that. This only applies when no encoding argument is given. We get that. For best compatibility, now we're moving on to compatibility between versions of Python. So for example, I have Python 3.15 and Python 3.14. So I want compatibility between the versions of Python, right? But we're also talking about the UTF-8. How's that related to this? That is my question. Ensure that an explicit encoding argument is always provided. Ensure that an explicit encoding argument is always provided. Yeah, like this one. The opt-in encoding warning can be used. Opt-in encoding warning can be used to identify code that may be affected by the change. What does all this mean? I actually don't get it. No worries. Thank you so much, ChatGPT. That paragraph can be a bit dense if you're not used to Python's input-output and encoding rules. Let's break it step by step in simple terms. Okay, so this only applies when no encoding argument is given. When you read from or write to a file, you can specify how text is encoded using the encoding argument. Yeah, this is explicit encoding. I get that. I get it. If you don't provide encoding, Python now defaults UTF-8 regardless of your system's local. The statement means this default behavior only matters when you have an explicitly specified an encoding. Yeah, this behavior obviously is not, it only matters. It's only going to matter, this behavior, when you have not explicitly specified an encoding. Obviously, when there's no specific encoding, this is going to happen. It's going to default to UTF-8. This is what I'm trying to understand. For best compatibility between versions of Python, ensure that an explicit encoding argument is always provided. Even though Python defaults to UTF-8 now, it is safer to always specify the encoding yourself. Okay, so this all this means specify the encoding yourself. Okay. Why? Because if your code runs on different Python versions or environments, being explicit prevents unexpected bugs. Alright, alright. For example, this thing has the encoding argument. So this is safe and explicit. Alright, alright, I get it now. So there, if we don't do this, if we don't give the encoding argument, and we're using different versions of Python. So if I run this same thing up till here with no encoding, alright? Imagine I'm running the code, some random code, it does not have the encoding argument. I first run it on 3.14, and then I try to run it on 3.15. I might get an unexpected bug somewhere. Why? Because I've not specified the encoding. So there might be some unexpected bug. And that is why for best compatibility, it is best to, do the explicit encoding to prevent unexpected bugs. Because the same code that might be running clearly on 3.14 might encounter an unexpected bug if I run that same code on 3.15. You get it? Okay, the opt-in encoding warning can be used to identify code that may be affected by this change. Python can warn you if your code relies on the old default encoding, which was platform dependent. Oh, I didn't know that. So the old default encoding was platform dependent. This opt-in warning helps you find files that might break. Okay, it's going to help us find files that might break, that might not work, when Python assumes UTF-8 by default. Hold on, I need to understand this. So, for example, if I've got some files and they've got some code inside them, and suddenly, I find out that they were platform dependent, right? So they're not going to work because they were platform dependent. So the opt-in warning is going to help me find those files that might break, right? Something like this. Yeah, I need to understand that again. What is this? This is the last statement. Special encoding is a locale. Argument. Normally, Python uses do UTF-8 by default. If you want Python to behave like it did in older versions, you can use encoding is equal locale. Oh, I didn't know that. This is so cool. This tells Python use the system's local encoding, like CP1252 on Windows or UTF-8 on Linux. This option has been available since Python 3.10. I get it. Okay, I understand all of that. I understood all of them now. I just want to understand the third one, as I didn't get it still. Yeah, the third one I still don't get it. Here's what it means. Python 3.11 and later means 3.12, 3.13, 3.14 up to so on, later afterwards. Now defaults to UTF-8 for file input output. Alright, so if there's no specific encoding, it's going to default to UTF-8. And this has been happening since Python 3.1 and onwards. Older Python code might have relied on the system's default encoding. Older Python code, okay. Which could have been something else, like CP1252 on Windows, to help developers find code that could break due to this change. Yeah, the old Python code. For example, there is some old Python code that depends on the system default encoding. That's going to break. All right, that's gonna break. To help developers find that code that could break due to the change, Python has an optional warning you can turn on. Opt-in means you have to enable it yourself. Python won't show it unless you ask. All right. When enabled, Python will warn you about any file operations that don't specify. Python is gonna warn us about any file operations that do not specify an encoding. Okay, yeah, input-output operations or file operations that do not have a explicit encoding. So you know which parts of your code might behave differently under the new UTF-8 default. Alright. Think of it like a helper that points out, hey, this code might break because you didn't explicitly say what encoding to use. Give me a short example with a short code random. Yeah, I get it to some point. I get it at some point. Here's for example. This is a file write without explicit encoding. Well, with open example.txt as f. Yeah, this does not have any encoding. In this code, we didn't specify encoding, so Python uses UTF-8 by default. If you enable the opt-in encoding warning, Python will warn you. This file operation, which is this, with open, this is the file operation, does not specify encoding, might behave differently in future versions. If you want, I can show you how to enable. Okay, I get it. It is as simple as this. Alright, I get it. I totally get it. So you can see over here that there's no explicit encoding. Like, for example, encoding is equal to UTF-8 or any other. There is no explicit encoding. Alright, so what is going to happen? Python is automatically going to use UTF-8. Why? Because there is no explicit encoding. Now, what's up with the opt-in encoding warning? If we enable the opt-in encoding warning, right, before doing this, Python will warn us about this code. It's going to warn us about this code. What's going to be the warning? This file operation, which is this. This is the file operation. This file operation does not specify encoding. Might behave differently in future versions. I get it now. I totally get it. Well, yeah, I get it. I totally understand. Alright, yeah. So, this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a nice day. Alright, everybody. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.